You're gonna get a
And
lot of people excited with that statement.
yeah, no,
'Cause they're
yeah.
like, "What do you mean? I could just, launch an agent and, make a lot of money?"
Well, by the way, it's happening right now, right? You know that when you go to China, you're gonna see a whole bunch of people getting their claws to try to go out and look for jobs and do work, make money. I'm not actually. I wouldn't be surprised if some social thing happened or somebody created a digital influencer super cute, or some social application that feeds your little Tamagotchi or something like that, and it become an out of the blue an instant success. A lot of people use it for a couple of months and it kind of dies away. Now, the odds of 100,000 of those agents building NVIDIA is 0%. And then the one part that I will do, and I want to make sure we all do, is to recognize that people are really worried about their jobs. And I just want to remind them that the purpose of your job and the tasks and the tools that you use to do your job are related, not the same. I've been doing my job for 33 years. I'm the longest running tech CEO in the world. I've been 34 years. And the tools that I've used to do my job has changed continuously in the last 34 years, and sometimes quite dramatically, over the course of a couple, 2, 3 years. And the one story that I really want to make sure that everybody hears is the story, the first job that computer scientists said, AI researchers said was going to go away was radiology, because computer vision was going to achieve superhuman levels, and it did. Computer vision was superhuman in 2019, maybe a little bit later, 2020.
Mhm.
Okay, and so it's been a long time since computer vision has been superhuman, and so the prediction was radiologists would go away, because studying radiology scans was thing of the past. AI will do that. Well, they were absolutely right. Computer vision is completely superhuman. Every radiology platform and package today is driven by AI. And yet, the number of radiologists grew. And so the question is why? And we now have a shortage of radiologists in the world. And so, one, the alarmist warning went too far, and it scared people from doing this profession that is so important to society. And so it did harm. Now, why was it wrong? The reason why is because the purpose of a radiologist, the purpose is to diagnose disease and help patients and doctors diagnose disease. And because we're able to study scans so much faster now, you could study more scans, you could diagnose better, you could inpatient faster, we can see people more. The hospitals are making more money. You have more patients in the hospital. You need more radiologists. I mean, the amazing thing is, it's so obvious this was going to happen. The number of software engineers at NVIDIA is going to grow, not decline. And the reason for that is because the purpose of a software engineer and the task of a software engineer of coding are related, not the same. I wanted my software engineers to solve problems. I didn't care how many lines of code they wrote, but their purpose of their job didn't change. Solving problems, working as a team, diagnosing problems, evaluating the result, looking for new problems to solve, innovation, connecting dots. None of that stuff is going to go away.
So you think it's possible that, let's even take coding, you think the number of programmers in the world might increase, not
Yes.
decrease?
And the reason for that is this. What is the definition of coding? I believe that the definition of coding as of today is simply specifying specification, and maybe if you want to be rather directive, you could even give it an architecture of the software that you wanted to write. So the question is, how many people could do that? Describe a specification for a computer to go, telling the computer what to go build. How many people? I think we just went from 30 million to probably 1 billion. And so every carpenter in the future will be a coder, except a carpenter with AI is also an architect. They just increased the value that they could deliver to the customer. Their artistry just elevated tremendously. I believe that every accountant is, also your financial analyst, also your financial advisor. So all of these professions have just been elevated. And if I were a carpenter, I see AI, I would just completely go berserk. The services I can bring to my clients, if I were a plumber, completely go berserk.
And the people that are currently programmers and software engineers, I think they're at the cutting edge of understanding intuitively how to communicate with agents using natural language in order to design the best kind of software.
That's right.
So
Exactly.
over time they'll converge, but I think there's still value in getting, I think, learning how to program, like learning what programming languages are, the old kind of programming. What are good practices for programming languages? What are design principles for programming
That's right.
languages for large software systems?
And the reason for that, Lex, and that I was just saying for the audience, I think the goal of specification, the artistry of specification, the goal and the artistry of it, is going to depend on what problem you're trying to solve. When I'm thinking about giving the company strategies and formulating corporate directions and things that we should do, I describe it at a level that is sufficiently specific that people generally understand the direction and it's actionable. It's so specific enough that they can take action on it, but I underspecify it on purpose so that enable 43,000 amazing people to make it even better than I imagined. And so when I'm working with engineers, when I'm working with people, I think about what problem am I trying to solve? Who am I working with? And the level of specification, the level of architecture definition relates to that. And so everybody's going to have to learn where in the spectrum of coding they want to be. Writing a specification is coding. And so you might decide to be quite prescriptive because there's a very specific outcome you're looking for. You might decide that, this is an area you want to be much more exploratory. And so you might underspecify and enable you to go back and forth with the AI to even push your own boundaries of creativity. And so this artistry of where you are in the spectrum, this is the future of coding.
But just to linger on it outside of coding, I think a lot of people, rightfully so, are worried about their jobs, have a lot of anxiety about their jobs, especially in the white collar sector. I don't think any of us know what to do with tumultuous times that always come when automations and new technology arrives. And first of all, I think we all need to have compassion and the responsibility to feel sort of the burden of what the actual suffering feels like for individual people and families that lose their job. I think whenever you have transformative technology like that's coming with artificial intelligence, there's going to be a lot of pain, and I don't know what to do about that pain. Hopefully, it creates much more opportunities for those same people for the same kind of job as the tooling evolves and makes them more productive and makes them more fun, hopefully, as it does in the programming. I've been having so much fun programming, I have to say. Like, I've never had this much fun. So hopefully it makes their job, automates the boring parts and makes the creative parts the ones that the human beings are responsible for. But still, there's going to be a lot of pain and suffering.
So my first recommendation and this is now how I deal with anxiety. In fact, we just talked about it earlier. Enormous anxiety about the future, enormous anxiety about the pressure, enormous anxiety about uncertainty. I first break it down, and then I'm going to tell myself, okay, there are some things you can do something about. There's some things you can't do anything about. But for the stuff that you can do something about, let's reason about it, and let's go do it. Yeah. If we were to hire a new college graduate today, and I have a choice between two, one that has no clue what AI is and one that is expert in using AI. I would hire the one who's expert in using AI. If I had an accountant, a marketing person, the one that is expert in using AI, supply chain, customer service, a salesperson, business development, a lawyer, I would hire the one who is expert in using AI. And so I would advise that every college student, every teacher should encourage their student to go use AI. Every college student should graduate and be an expert in AI. And everybody, if you're a carpenter, if you're electrician, go use AI. Go see what it can do to transform your current job, elevate yourself. If I were a farmer, I would absolutely use AI. If I were a pharmacist, I would use AI. I want to see what it could do to elevate my job, so that I could be the innovator to revolutionize this industry myself.
Mhm.
And so that would be the first thing that I would do, and then I would also help them. It is the case that the technology will dislocate and will eliminate many tasks, and because it will automate it. If your job is the task, then you're very highly going to be disrupted. If your job's purpose includes certain tasks, then it's vital that you go learn how to use AI to automate those tasks. And then there's the world of spectrum in between.
And by the way, the beautiful thing about AI, so the chatbot versions, is you have anxiety, and you can break down the problem by talking to it. Like I've recently, it's really just incredible how much you can think through your life's problems and I don't mean like therapy problems. I mean like very practically, okay, I'm worried about my job. What are the skills? What are the steps I need to take? How do I get better at AI? Everything you just said, you can literally ask and it's going to give you a point by point plan. I mean, it's just a great life coach. Period.
I don't know how to use AI, and the AI goes, well, let me show you.
Exactly. It's very meta, but it's kind of incredible. So people definitely should.
You can't walk up to Excel and say, I don't know how to use Excel. You're done.
I mean, that's really what AI has done for me in all walks of life, is that initial friction of being a beginner, of using a thing for the first time.
Yeah.
I can literally ask about any single thing. What are the first steps I need to take?
That's right.
And that hand-holding that it does, removing the friction of all the experiences that the world offers is, like I mentioned to you offline, you mentioned I'm going to China and Taiwan.
So awesome. So excited for you.
Where do I go? Where do I go? How do I? All of those questions immediately answered. It's beautiful.
Well, when you go to Taiwan, just ask AI, what are Jensen's favorite restaurants in Taiwan?
Yeah.
And it will actually tell you. Oh, yeah.
Is it accurate? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all over Taiwan.
Well, you're a rock star over there, and like we also mentioned offline, maybe our paths will cross, which would be really wonderful.
Computex, NVIDIA GTC Taiwan.